Hey, what's up? It's your girl Christy with Uza. Welcome back to the show. Today I'm here with Kettie Munroe. Hi, Kettie.
Hey y'all, how's it going?
So, who is Kettie Munroe?
Ooh, Kettie Munroe. So funny you ask. A lot of times before, when I was always asked this question, the first thing that came to mind was a misunderstood villain at one point. You know, someone who was a little unapologetic, you know, didn't really feel like I fit the mold of like not only society but music standards, especially as a black woman, Haitian descent being that. And not for nothing too, it's something that has molded Kettie Munroe as an artist and you know who she is. But at the same time, you can say like it keeps me grounded. So it's a balance between, you know, kind of good and in a bad sense, if that makes sense. Yeah. So that sums it all up for you. Yeah.
When is your birthday, Kettie?
Oh, it's December 31st.
Oh,
it's New Year's Eve. Yeah, it's actually a Capricorn. Yeah, Sagittarius. It's actually a great month too because it's also in December.
Okay.
It's a great sign. So my best friend's a Sagittarius. Okay. So we kind of share the same birthday. Hers is on the 1st, mine's the 31st. So it's like only 30 days apart, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
Where were you born and raised? Where are you from?
Man, you know, it's always a complicated question because it's kind of all over. So I am of Haitian descent, you know. I was actually, my parents are from Haiti, so 100% Haitian.
Yes.
Sac paseo. However, I was actually born in the Bahamas. But I was raised in Massachusetts.
Okay, so Bahamian and Haitian.
It's, yeah, you know, it's very, very weird because I'm the only one out of all my siblings and my family in general that was actually born in the Bahamas. I was born premature, so by the time my mom had me, instead of having me in America like she planned, I ended up being born on her way here. So that's how I ended up in the Bahamas. So.
Okay. When did you move here? Were you really?
Oh my gosh, I was like 2 months old.
2 months old? Okay.
Yeah, so I from Dorchester originally, you know, Blue Hill Ave, and then eventually I ended up moving up towards the North Shore, the suburbs area. So.
Have you ever went back to visit where you were born?
Not necessarily. It's been a while. I mean, I'm just kind of been, you know, back and forth between the East and West Coast. I'm in LA now, so that's just kind of my home base. So.
How do you like the West Coast?
It's very different. It's a little bit of a culture shock, but at the same time, thank God I was raised on the East Coast because I probably wouldn't know how to handle the West Coast. So,
give me one of the examples of culture shock.
Culture shock, I mean, for example, like East to West Coast. More of a culture shock there is, no, kill me. I'm saying, basically, I've heard of the fake it till you make it concept. However, you know, the point is to make it, and sometimes I think that on the West Coast, you know, the culture and the wave more so is more on like the, you know, Hollywood, smoky mirror, everything's not really what it seems type thing. People kind of get off on being fake because everyone has, you know, hidden motives and hidden agendas, which I'm not used to. You know, I'm very used to being straightforward and, you know, kind of like cutting to the chase. And I guess it's all part of the game. But when you look at like, for you know, even on the East Coast, like as in like New York, it's different. And you can kind of say, that's why they say like, you know, we're kind of like tougher East Coasters in some sort of way. Not saying, you know, West Coast isn't, but it's like people kind of find it okay to come off a little fake sometimes because as long as you look like you got it, or as long as, you know, you're playing the game, then it's like, And for me, that's just like a bit of a culture shock. So like, but.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
What gave you the courage to take the leap of faith and move out to LA?
Oh man, it was my willpower, honestly. I was just so hungry. And not for nothing, I love my city, man. But you know, at one point I felt like I kind of not only, I don't want to say outgrown it because there's a lot I still really haven't gotten a chance to do, but I felt like I wasn't really going anywhere, you know, not just because I wasn't, you know, well connected within the Boston music scene, but more so because I felt like the route I was headed towards was going to be different. I felt like it was kind of a transition that I've been yearning for a long time. And honestly, it's something I wanted to do for a while. Even back in high school, I was just, thinking like my senior, sophomore year, like writing on my notebook, like places I want to live in California, things I want to do. You can take the girl out of Boston, but you can't take Boston out the girl. So I still bring that spirit everywhere with me, everywhere I go. But I just felt like it was just something that had to be done, in order for me to grow as an artist and a person.
Right.
So,
and there's a lot of opportunities out there.
And that part.
To, get a different change of scenery.
Yep, and that part for sure. So much to do. So much to do. Yeah.
What are some monumental places that you've performed at in Boston or in Massachusetts?
Oh, wow. It's funny you ask. My last performance actually in Massachusetts was Fenway Park.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Go Red Sox.
Go Red Sox, for sure. We're always champions no matter what.
Right.
But yeah, I was very fortunate to do that through an audition that I was able to do a while ago. It was actually during one of their opening weeks. Red Sox versus Baltimore, I'm pretty sure. And it's God Bless America I got to perform. It's actually really nice.
How many in attendance?
Oh man, it's 35,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah, huge stadium, so that was nice. Yeah, I got to do that. I don't know, it was just really cool seeing myself on the big screen too. Like, hey,
Do you ever
Mom.
go back and rewatch it? Like,
Oh, I do from time to time. I'll go back on my channel. I'll just kind of like rewatch it, from time to time. It can be a little uplifting and, just kind of remind me of like, all the good times and stuff. So.
Were you any nervous, for having such a big crowd there?
At first I was, just because it was just so many people. But, once I kind of like just started singing and got the hang of things, you just kind of got at ease. And,
Right.
plus the reaction was so great that it made me feel like, okay, I got this.
Yeah.
I'm doing good. So it was definitely one of my most memorable times in my independent career, for sure. Yeah.
Who or what were your inspirations growing up?
Music-wise, it's funny because it's not just music-wise, it's just entertainment-wise, movies, music, just pop culture. I want to just say pop culture in general. It was just an era of being a 90s baby, from Destiny's Child to Aaliyah to Michael Jackson to Britney Spears. It all varies. And then, being of Caribbean descent, I was able to tap into other elements, like compa, reggaeton, basada, salsa, just a little bit of everything. And that's just, kind of where it all roots from, so, yeah.
At what age did you say, hey, I'm pretty good at this and I want to pursue a music career?
Oh man, hypothetically speaking, 13. I did start singing when I was 8 years old, but it wasn't until 13 years old I was like, you know what, I really want to do this, even if it's not for me, because I love writing. And at 13, I was actually writing books before I was writing songs. I was writing like little stories and short poems and things like that. I had like this really big imagination and like always just like to put it on paper, because when I would go back and read it, it would take me away from whatever I was dealing with as a kid at the time, which was a lot for someone as a kid. And it was at that moment I was like, I want to be a writer, I want to do music. And eventually a couple years later I got into the studio for the first time, so that was pretty neat.
How do you think, did you discover, you said that you started at around 8 years old?
Yeah, I started singing at 8 years old.
So what exactly got you to know that you, like, hey, I can sing and
So I was actually more of a hummer. I was kind of a mute. I didn't like to talk much. So it was actually the sound of the humming that I would always like, sing melodies. I noticed I was really good at remembering melodies more than I was lyrics. So it was just kind of like one of those like listening to the radio, like, this doesn't sound bad. And then eventually I started opening my mouth. And then I was like, this is actually not bad at all. And then people would kind of like, hear me and gravitate towards me and be like, hey, you actually sound pretty good. And once I got the little boost of confidence, it was it for me.
So what's the difference between pop vocalist and R&B, and where do you think you fall between the two?
Oh, so R&B and as a pop vocalist, R&B is, you know, definitely more like a soulful rhythm and blues thing, which I've always carried in me regardless, because you just, you know, that's just right. What I love to do is music, you know, from the era I grew up in and everything. Pop vocalist, it's more so like range. You know, having like more of a range, having a variety, having basically the ability to adapt and adjust to different sounds, different genres, because pop, it really stands for popular nowadays. And you know, it stems from, you know, techno, house, EDM, all that stuff like from way back when. Nowadays, it's more so put on a general scale where you can take pop and kind of merge it into any other genre, but you can switch it up, add fusions, remix it, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's more the difference.
How did you evolve since your first album?
Oh, wow. Venus Flytrap. You know, Venus Flytrap was definitely the introduction to Kettie, you know, to me. I definitely want to say I've evolved as a writer. I've evolved as a sound experimenter, if that's even a word, if that even makes sense, I don't know. I've evolved in style, and just basically in genre as well. Venus Flytrap was more like an urban sounding, you know, East Coast meets pop fusion. You know, you had King's Bed and Omid and Kids Play with Guns and Star on Earth, and you know, it was just very different. Indigo, which was my second EP, it was more on like the house side. You know, I was playing a lot with retro sounding, you know, 80s inspired music. And of course, you know, I still had like a little bit of like my R&B roots there from time to time. Definitely evolved since, and then just the singles I've released since too has, you know, been a little different from Venus Flytrap. A lot of growth, definitely a lot of growth, yeah, for sure.
What are some of the challenges that you face in the music industry?
Oh wow, so many. I'm just kidding. Well, one thing for sure is honestly being a black girl.
Yeah.
It sounds a little cliche, and I know, you know, people have probably heard it a million times, but it's true. Being a black girl is one of the biggest challenges in the music industry. And not even just being a Haitian girl, just being a black girl, period. And a lot of that just falls with, because we're expected to come off a certain way when you are different. You're not really gravitated towards right away, or you're not necessarily given the benefit of the doubt. You know, people kind of expect for you to be sexy. They kind of expect for you to, you know, have flawless this and have a nice buttocks and, you know, show cleavage and, you know, and again, I don't knock it. I think that's all great, but that's not all black women. Right. You know, there are, you know, some people who, you know, don't mind throwing on a pair of Dr. Martens from time to time and, you know, rocking a skirt with some red bottoms the next week. Like, you can do it all. I could be a weirdo. I mean, when you look at an artist, you know, who can dye their hair a bunch of colors and wear baggy clothes, and they could still sell out stadiums, you know. It doesn't mean that just because she has a certain perception that she should come off a certain way. But, you know, too, it's just the business itself. You know, the industry has a lot of in and outs. You know, it's a male-dominated industry at the end of the day. So as a woman, you know, if we're not even gonna go and say black woman, but just as a woman, that can also be a challenge, because you are dealing with, you know, people who've been doing this for a long time, who know the game better than you, and who just want to take full advantage. And unfortunately, that's always been something that myself, and I'm sure hundreds and millions of other women, have had to deal with.
So would you say that you've had instances that you were underestimated?
Underestimated a lot. Underestimated, overlooked, you know, not really given the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, and when I do find myself in those situations, I try to capitalize on them because for me it's more like fuel. I did used to kind of get a little sour and bitter about it before because it's like, oh well, you know, they think that I'm not this and that, and I'm gonna show them. But in all, you know, when all's said and done, it doesn't really matter because the more I put into the effort of not just showing them that they're wrong about me, but showing myself that I was right, it won't really matter what people think of you. Right. And by that point, man, it's guns blazing. Like, that's all you right there. Right. No one can say nothing.
Outside of music, do you have any hidden talents?
A little. I like to act.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe it's because I have like a multiple different personality thing going on.
Have you ever been in any plays or on stage performing anything?
In high school, when I was in like, you know, school. In college now I don't have the time for it.
Right.
Just more focused on exams and writing.
Yes.
But high school, yeah, for sure. I did, you know, do drama club. I did a lot of musical theater. I was in a concert choir. So I've always had this yearn low key for Broadway, which is something I wouldn't mind doing in the near future. I think that would be so fun. Acting is a great way for me to improvise as well. I mean, it helps me improvise for music, for the songs I write, just overall creating content. So it's one of my hidden talents.
Name one thing on your bucket list.
My bucket list? Oh, traveling to some of the most destined destinations for me. And when I mean that, I mean just places. I mean, I want to see Egypt. I want to go to Paris. I want to go to Dubai. I want to see Greece. Obviously, you know, Haiti is always a destination.
Right.
Go back and just. I wanna see the world.
Right.
It's always travel related when it comes to my bucket list. I mean, there's things I want to do too, but most of it involves just going somewhere to do them.
Right.
I mean, anything on my bucket list that wouldn't require me traveling, I don't. Yeah. Oh, and winning some Grammys.
Can't wait to see you on that stage.
Right?
In your future. I hope.
You know, that's on my bucket list. So. Yeah.
What advice would you give the teenage Kettie Munroe today if you had any advice?
That hits different, huh? Are we all doing that 10-year challenge now? Wow. Don't give up, Kettie. And stop being so hard on yourself. Yeah.
Do you have any advice for maybe like our younger viewers or audience?
Yeah. Just go do it. Whatever it is you want to do, just go do it. You know, I have a motto in life where it's not living life with should've, could've, would've, but you didn't. For me, that's like my biggest fear is regret. It's worse than failure for me because see, you fail when you stop trying.
Right.
However, regret comes from something that you know in your heart could have possibly changed your life, but you decided to not even take the chance. And that to me is worse than failure. Because regret, you'll have a higher chance of failing than you would failing, because I know you're gonna grind and make sure that you don't stop trying, because that's the only way you're gonna fail. But regret, that shit's, man, that's a motherfucker.
What's next for Kettie Munroe? What can we expect to see you doing?
Wow, fun stuff. I'm definitely in another world, in another realm, in another state of mind, in another frequency when it comes to my music. I do have a couple singles coming out this year. One of them is actually called Let Go. It's produced by La Serena Records, written by me, of course. I actually have a video that I'm working on for that very soon. I actually just wrapped it up like not too long ago. So
how soon can we expect to see that come?
Within the next month or so.
Next month.
Yeah, so it's gonna be fun. I'm also working on my third project, my third EP. I do not have a title for it yet, but I will make sure as soon as I do, y'all are one of the first to know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Where could our viewers tune into you?
Oh, I mean, I'm chilling, you know? I'm on most major platforms just like everybody else. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, you can stream me off Spotify, YouTube videos. I am on Apple Music, I'm on Tidal, Reverb, you know. I don't really do a live thing from time to time, but I do follow back, I do reply back, and everything you guys can find at Kettie Munroe or Kettie Munroe Music. Of course, it's KettiMunroe. I know sometimes the spelling can be a little different than what most people expect, so.
Any final words or shout outs that you'd like to send out?
You should talk about
Sakbase! Shout out to UZA Networks, for sure. Thank you guys so much for having me. Shout out to everybody in this room right now. Shout out to my fans, my day ones, Teddy. You already know. Shout out to Rhymes. Thank you guys so much for having me here. Shout out to the city of Boston. You know, you guys always, you know, keep the lights on for the artists to make it happen. Y'all support local artists, of course, like myself from here. And, you know, just shout out to everybody winning, support, love, and Happy New Year.
And for our last question, I've heard a rumor about HBO. Can you explain more about that?
Oh yeah, so I actually got two of my singles placed on my first placement. It's on an HBO Max series called The Hype. It's a streetwear fashion competition.
Watch that. Let's go.
It's pretty good. Y'all should go stream that. It had its first season, and they are working on a second season, starring, you know, Offset from the Migos and a bunch of other celebrity guests. And you know, basically, I was very fortunate to get two of my songs placed on the series. I'm on episode 7 and I'm on episode 8.
Wow.
So it's called Brand New Energy and Not Giving Up. Those are the two tracks that are on the song, the season.
Y'all tune in to her on HBO. Thank you, Kettie, for coming here. It was nice having you.
Thank you so much.
And we hope to see you on the Grammy stage sometime soon.
Woo, hopefully soon. But yeah.
Thank you, Kettie, for being here, and it was a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you. So much fun. I loved being here.
We'd love to see you sometime soon.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for tuning in to Uza. Boston loves you, and we hope to see you more often, and we got you.
Love you, Boston. Go UZA Networks.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.